Faith is about a relationship and not religion. We have a supernatural power inside of us that when we're overwhelmed and don't even know how to breathe or what to say or where to go, we have someone. Your heart breaks open sometimes so that it can actually hold more love. Even though we are thrown some curveballs, there is always, hopefully, ever after.
Rachel Kerr Schneider, welcome to Game Changers.
Jess, thank you for having me. I am absolutely delighted to be with you today.
I'm thrilled to have you. And you know, on this podcast, it's the one big thing that changed everything. What is your one big thing?
Oh, Jess, it was faith is about a relationship and not religion.
Wow. Okay. So people say, what does that mean? And that's what we want to explore right now. First, take us back a step. Uh, what happened with your husband that set this all in action?
He was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, known as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, which is a terminal disease. It gives you about 2 to 5 years to live, and basically the body self paralyzes while the mind stays acute.
Whoa. And you watched this play out over how long?
He died within 3 years of his diagnosis.
Within 3 years. And people say, hey, this is especially a moment to have faith. Were you a faithful person to begin with?
I was. I grew up in a faith-based household. I had a lot of knowledge. I knew a lot about, what was in the Bible. I knew the stories of the people in the Bible. But when I got this news, I had nowhere else to go but really on my knees and just say, "Okay, Lord, I don't understand this. I don't know what this really is, but I know what it means and I need some help here."
I bet. And so, how did it change your faith when you say as a relationship?
I began to see Jesus as somebody who was right there lockstep with me. My husband would look over at me sometimes and say, "Who are you talking to?" And I'd say, "Jesus." And he goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" I go, "You." "Well, why?" "Well, because I'm having a moment right now and I don't know how I'm going to get through it, or the boys are working my last nerve and I don't know how to deal with them." And so Jesus became just very real to me. And I also remembered too, Jess, that we have a supernatural power inside of us called the Holy Spirit, that when we're overwhelmed and don't even know how to breathe or what to say or where to go, we have someone, a spirit that can intercede on our behalf.
So, I've talked to other people on the podcast about where they've talked about tapping into something bigger than them. And it sounds like that's exactly what you were doing. And so, your husband passed away 14 years ago.
Yes.
And how has this whole thing grown or changed the idea of the relationship with faith?
Well, what I do know is that we're all tested in some way while we're on this earth. I do believe that there's a reason for that, that none of our suffering is ever wasted. And for me now, I am living a life that is probably beyond my imagination. I could have never thought of this or dreamt any of this would happen. Um, John John was the love of my life. So I really never thought of myself as being married again. I never thought of myself as being a bonus mom to all girls. I have boys. There are so many things about my life now that are so different. And what I do know, there is never the same love twice. Your heart breaks open sometimes, Jess, so that it can actually hold more love. And for me, ALS now means always living spiritually.
Whoa. And now you released a memoir that's right behind you. The Widow Chose Red. Tell us what that's all about. It's brand new, just came out. Tell us about it.
So the title is based on the fact that I did wear red to my husband's celebration of life service. The boys were 10 and 14. They're on the cover with me. That's an actual photo before we left the house to go to his celebration of life service. The boys are wearing ties from their dad's collection. Red is the color of love, it's the color of passion.
Mm.
It also represents fire. And the flame is a representative of the Holy Spirit and Pentecost. So I wanted to celebrate my husband's terrific life. He may have died from a brutal death, but he lived very well and he actually finished well too.
Wow. And now you're continuing the legacy and building on top of it. What can people learn in the book?
I want them to be inspired. I want them to recognize that even though we are thrown some curveballs, sometimes even though our happily ever after doesn't end the way that we want it to, there is always hopefully ever after.
And what are some tools and skills the rest of us can use when going through grief and trauma, just like you did?
Well, when I'm speaking with others about this, I encourage them to reach out and find community. It's so much easier now, given social media, and there's so many more advocacy groups for individuals who may be going through any kind of illness or grief or loss or caregiving situation. I also encourage them to write, to journal. You don't have to do it all the time, but it is a way to get a lot of feelings out in a very healthy way. Sometimes even if you just grab your phone and just want to record a voice memo into it, getting rid of those thoughts can be very, very helpful. I also just want individuals to know that they are not alone. And I encourage them to connect with me. On my website at Spirited Prosperity, we have a community of like minded individuals who can be there to lend their support and confidence as well, no matter what you might be going through.
So, oh, a community. So, what happens in the community?
So we have what we call a spirited salon where we get together, usually once a month, and it's via Zoom. Or I do have speaking engagements where I'm meeting people live and in person. But basically, what I do is I want women to come together and just share the experiences, what's going on in their life, and the salon back in the day was a place where thought leaders would gather, individuals would come together and discuss ideas of the day. Well, we're going to talk about the ideas of things that are happening in your life and how there are strategies that perhaps you can choose to incorporate that can make your situation more bearable for you and your loved ones.
So, somebody else going through this, things they can learn today, having heard you speak, journaling, getting
Yes,
their feelings out on a
yes,
page,
yes,
speaking it
absolutely.
out loud, having a relationship with whoever their faith brings them to, I guess, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then finding those like minded individuals.
The community and
Yeah.
having a community. Those sound like perfect ingredients for dealing with, I guess we're not necessarily over trauma, grief, having at least a system to live through it.
Absolutely, and I think the thing that I found so isolating for me is I was widowed at 49. I didn't know another widow. I didn't even hardly know what ALS was, much less anybody that had gone through that journey. When we get knocked upside down by something that happens to us in our life, we tend to think, "Oh, I'm the only one this has ever happened to."
Mm.
And it's just not the case. So I just want people to know too, sharing your story is something that can also benefit someone else. And we forget that sometimes that by other people hearing our experience, they usually will garner something from that. We don't even know sometimes what it is that they take away, but there's something, whether it's encouragement or inspiration or a strategy, that will help them deal with whatever they're going through.
Rachel Kerr Schneider, thank you for sharing all of this and giving people tools to deal with grief, tough situations, and get through life. Thank you for being today's game changer.
Jess, thank you and Godspeed.